Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I'm calling it a shaded gatefold card. I was requested if I would make a video showing how to do this by Jamie from the US, so this is especially for you, Jamie. The original that the photograph that Jamie sent me was actually made by a UK demonstrator friend of mine, Fiona Whitten, and what happens is you open it up and you've got this. Okay, now this was my prototype and I made one mistake with it, and if I take my cover up off, the mistake I made was that image came too far over, so you will see now that my image is a lot closer. Okay, once I'd made this card, I had a thought. As I say, this is my prototype. The actual card we're going to be making today is this one, which looks about the same, but it's double. So we're going to have that as we open up. Okay? And it stands up nice and easily on the shelf. If I can try and show you what it looks like front view, it looks something like that. Okay, depending which way you're looking at it, which I thought was really lovely. Likewise, the single one will also stand up on a shelf very easily. Okay, so that's the standing up view that you would get, something like that. So it's a great little card, so many thanks for the inspiration, Fiona. I haven't quite worked out the measurements for these pieces, so hopefully I'm going to work them out while I'm actually doing it with you. I'm making exactly the same card. I'm not making any changes with that at all. As you saw by the base, I have got that bit ready ahead of time. So let me start by the card pieces that you're going to need. I'm going to give you inches to start off with, and the inches are suitable for whether you use A4 cardstock or letter size. They're both the same. Finished card size is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, which will go in at 6 by 6 inch size envelope. So first of all, you need one piece of cardstock that measures 11 inches by 8.25 inches. Now, when you are measuring your 8.25 for letter size, for A4 cardstock users, and your 11 inch if you're using letter size, please check that that actually does measure 11 inches or 8.25, because on my 8.25 I've had to cut this little slither off. Okay, it's almost like 1/16 of an inch, but that 1/16 of an inch can make a difference to whether your folds go nicely or not. Let me put that on there, that's easier to see, isn't it? Okay, so this is two of the sheets that I've been doing. Okay, it's well worth checking that. And if you've ever made mistakes previously with cards that folds are important, that may be what has been your problem. So 11 inches by 8.25. Then you need a piece of Calypso Coral, which measures 5.25 inches by 5.25 inches. You need 4 squares of Calypso Coral, which measure 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. You need a piece of basic white, which is 5 1/8 inches by 5 1/8, which is going to go on there. And then you need 2 pieces of basic white, which are 2 3/8 inches by 2 3/8, and these are the ones we're going to do images to go onto our squares. You need 2 pieces of Designer Series paper, and both of these are from Happy Forest Friends, and again, those are going to be going on like that. And then you need pieces for what I'm going to be calling the liner. Okay, that's going to be the liner. By the way, I've left space up there so that you could either put another sentiment or you could sign Personally, I would sign it on the back, because when that's standing up at the front, nobody wants to see my handwriting. And I did think about decorating this bit, but I thought that that might start getting a bit heavy. If you decided you do want to decorate that, then the pieces obviously will be the same sizes as these. Was that all that I wanted to tell you? I think it was. If I think of anything else, I'll come back to it. First of all, we are going to score our card base, and we're going to fold it, and then I'm going to show you how I did all my stamping, which I've already done ahead of time, already layered it, already coloured it and everything, but I want to show you how I did it, because I've used my Stamparatus and I just love that tool. Right, so what we're going to do is we are going to score this first of all. You can use your trimmer. I'm going to use my scoreboard, which, as you know, I do prefer for scoring. To a certain extent, I think it's also quite helpful for videos, in as much as you can actually see me what I'm doing. Something feels wrong there. Why is that feeling uneven? Maybe because I'm off there. Okay, well, it's got to come down a bit. Okay, I want you to be able to see the top bit. This is my 6-inch mark, which is very useful when it comes to doing diagonal lines. In fact, I've got to keep that there for the time being, haven't I? So with your cardstock horizontal landscape, yeah, horizontal, you need to score at 2 3/4 inches. Now, I find it best, if you're using a scoreboard, to turn it round and do your next score on the same side, which is 2 3/4. If you're using a trimmer, you want 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. And then turn your cardstock 90 degrees. I always go anti-clockwise, probably because I'm right-handed, I don't know. And then score at 2 3/4 inches again. Now, we will need our trimmer again in a moment, but I'm just putting that down for a jiffy. Now, what you need to do is you need to mark this, and I've done this upside down. Oh, you silly person. Never mind. I put my pencil marks on here ahead of time because I need to get my head over to get them in the right position. Never mind. Where we have the 3 panels within the embossed lines, on these 2 side panels, we need to measure down 5.5 inches and 5.5 inches. And then across this one, which is again within our scored panel, we need to measure at 5.5. So I can see my 5.5 pencil mark here. So I'm just going to put that there, keep that straight. And then I know on the dark line, my 5.5 is there, and I need 5.5 across here, but I need it down this side, okay, because it's got to be below my score line. It's got to be in towards the area where I don't have the score line down here. Okay, so let me turn this right way around. Now, as I'm coming down this way, I've got to score at 2 3/4. That pencil mark you can probably see there, that was 5.5, but I scored the wrong way round. Okay, so let me just bring this down as close. In fact, no, I know what I'll do. I'll do both sides this way round. I'm just going to sit my paper up to my ruler, and then at 5.5, just a little dot, turn it around again, line it up against my ruler, and because my scored line is here, I want to go south, and I've got to put a pencil mark at 2 3/4. Okay, so all of these thirds are 2 3/4 inches long. Okay, these are 2 3/4 inches long. And when you've done your 5.5 mark along there, that half will be 5.5, that will be 5.5. Okay. Now it's these measurements that are going to decide whether your card works correctly or not. Okay, so now I don't need to keep this so that you can see the top bit. What you need to see is my red line, because I am going to score from that pencil mark there down to that one, and then I'm going to score from that pencil mark down to that one. So let's start with this one first. Now, is that all in the picture? No. Yes. Yes, about. Can you still see both of those? Yes. Yes, good. Okay, now I'm going to put that pencil mark right in the middle of that score line, and that pencil mark right in the middle of the score line. Now I don't want to pull my scoring tool down onto an edge in case it buckles it up. So I start in the middle here and just go off. Once I've done that, then I can come down here, and you should find that your score line goes right through the cross there. And then we're going to turn it around. We're going to put that pencil mark back into the score line, and we are going to bring this pencil mark into the score line. Let's bring that round. Okay, so get the pencil marks right in the centre of your scoring line. Okay, so that's that one. Okay. So that's all we need the scoring board for. So first of all, what we're going to do is we are going to fold on these straight lines, and this side the score lines are like valleys, so we're going to turn over so we got like the mountain score line, the bumpy one, and we're going to do the 3 straight lines. Now when you do this, fold it over, make sure you are perfectly lined up on the sides there. Make sure that lines up with that line there, and that comes right to the edge there. You may find that a little bit of a manoeuvre to get that to line up, or that to line up, is needed. Okay, so that lines up, that's lining up. And then this straight one. Okay, so now this lines up with that score line, and this one lines up. Okay, so we've got the 3 straight lines done. Now we're going to turn it back over again, so we've got the valley diagonal folds, and we're going to fold those 2 over. Now you need to make sure that that line measures up with that one, and that one lines up with that one. That's okay. This is needing a little bit of encouragement. Move over very slightly. You may see that I'm going to have to squash this down a bit, but that's okay. And then we're going to fold this one. Make sure that folds up, and that folds up correctly. Okay, now if you fold it back to the front again, what you should find is this fold here should come over like that, and this one should come over like this, and that is your card made. I didn't think mine was particularly straight. Well, that's better. Okay, so mine was hanging down a bit down here, so I've pulled it down and I've got it to line up. Okay, so that is going to be my card. Okay, so now I have these pieces which I've done ahead of time. That's my stamping, so that's what I'm going to do. Before I forget, let me take these pencil marks off. I think there was some, oh yes, I know. There's another pencil line I've left somewhere as well. But I've left that for a reason, to show you something. Okay, so that was my front. Oh, that's right, that one. Okay. So these are this is the stamping that I'm going to be doing. Okay. Now what happened was, on my first card, because I make my designs up as I go along, obviously, I knew that I was going to do that, so that was set up, ready to go. And then this one, I did this, and then I thought, oh, I think I need to decorate a bit more. So I added this on. So this one is on a different plate to what this one is. Also, when I showed that I got this too far over, I had to adjust these two. Okay, so they're that much closer to each other. But my Stamparatus really came into its own for this. So let me show you. I've used 4 plates. I could have used 2 and just turned them over, but I have extra plates, so I use them. Before I start, I'm going to show you the 2 stamp sets I'm using. First of all, I'm using Happy Hedgehogs, which comes as a bundle with a punch. So I'm using that, and that. In fact, nearly all, and that. So there's only the 3 stamps I'm not using on this one. I've had lots of other ideas that I could do with this. For example, I could do that and punch it out, so that's 3D. I could do that and fussy cut it and make it a 3D. All sorts of ideas, but I'm giving you the basics and let your imagination run wild, and hopefully you share them on my Facebook group that is for everybody to join in with. And Happy Birthday actually comes from Cottage Rose, which is a beautiful stamp set. I think this is the one. Is it in the new Christmas catalogue? Don't think so. I think that's the new annual catalogue, because I haven't bought anything from the Christmas. Right, okay. First of all, I'm going to bring my Stamparatus over. And the one I am going to do first is the Hedgehog. Let me just put a stamp set under there. Now, you may see I've got pencil marks here. That tells me where to line up my pieces of paper. So, this one, I think goes there. If I hold that there, just double check. Yes, that's lovely. If I want that to go up slightly, did I decide to move it up? Yes, I think I did. Ah, there we go. Yep, more pencil lines. I had a feeling I did that. So first of all, I'm going to stamp the Hedgehog. I'm using black memento because I want to use my Stampin' blends for colouring. Let's just ink that again, I think. That's much better. So that's that one done. Now I am going to use the sentiment, so I'm not moving this. Let me bring that down a little bit. I don't think you're about to see the stamp, no, but you're about to see it going on here. Just give it a little, I just go like that with my stamp set because I don't, in fact that has come up a bit too heavy. So what I do if that happens, I just have a scrap of paper. As you can see, I've had problems with this earlier. What I tend to do, and it's not until I've done this and done it wrong I think to myself, right, pay attention to what you're doing. As I'm putting my stamp down, my ink pad rather, I tend to go too heavy on this side here. So I must try and always remember to keep it tilted forward rather than backwards. That still looks quite moist, so let's just give it a quick once down. Okay, a bit more. That's much better. Yes, that's good. Okay, so I'm happy with that one. Put that one there. Put that back. And then I am going to do my next hedgehog. Now this one I need twice because I want it on one of the small pieces here. Where's my pencil lines for you? I think that's you, isn't it, there? Oh, there we go. I can see it. There's one along there, one above it, and there's around there as well. But that looks, it might have to go up slightly. Let's have a look. Yep. Definitely prefer that up. That's it. So let's do these two. Now tip your ink pad forward, so you're not too heavy on the back. Nice little circular movement. Yep, I think we could do that again. I think in our annual catalogue we have got some really beautiful small critters stamp sets. We've got the Hello Ladybirds, we've got these little things, we've got some elephants. There we go, that's beautiful, really like that. Okay. Oh, I know what happened about these other two stamps. When I decided I'd stamp that on there before I'd put this onto the layer, the original one this is, and then I decided I wanted to fill this in, but this had already been stuck into my card base, so I had to put it in like this. Confused? It makes sense really, so I'm going to do that one, and I'm going to do this. Now this should line up, I think, with that 2 1/8 mark there. Okay, so let's just make sure my layers are in position. And you may notice that the foam pad that I've got under there is actually for photopolymer stamps, but I did use a red rubber. It does work like that. I would just recommend that you don't push too hard. Right, put that one there, that one there, and does he fit on the bottom? Yes, he does. Okay, so let's stamp him. Now this would probably, this whole picture would probably be nice if you added, say, clouds up here, maybe some birds. Make it into a complete picture. I did also think about going around all my images with my pale blue Pool Party stamping blend. I did that on, which card did I do it recently? Does that look as if it's moved? I'm not sure. Well, I'm going to turn it over just in case it has. Make sure all these layers are a bit in there properly. You may notice that when I lift this up, I pull it up very slowly, so hopefully the ink, where it's sticking on the paper, it's not causing the paper to come up as I lift up, but I do suspect it did on this occasion. I think the double stamp effect was very, very mild. There we go, it just gradually, in fact that looks even better on its own, doesn't it? I'm pleased with that. I'm not going to make that any darker. So let me get the last one over. Now what I have to do is, because I'd already added this on, I had to stamp that, turning this around. Okay. Now I don't remember whether I did, oh, let's see if I can separate these two. You can be at the bottom, aren't you? Right, that's a bit high, which I noticed on the last one that I did. So I'm going to pull this up very slightly. I have no explanation for that, why that happened. That's better. Okay. Now you get an idea. In fact, if I bring this down just a little bit while I'm inking, you can see what I mean about just rubbing my ink pad around. Okay. Now you find that the, oops, you're in the way. You'll find the toadstool, yeah, it's got to be a toadstool, isn't it? Will probably come out lighter. Okay, let's see what happens with that. Yes, it does, a lot lighter. So let's hope that that didn't move my paper. Because I've prepared so much of this beforehand and I've showed you blanks, it means that I'm going to have enough bits to do another card completely. That's the one that I really need. Okay. Ah, that's all right. Oh, I lost a flower here. I'm glad I noticed that. Okay, so that's all the stamping that I need to do. If you've never considered getting a Stamparatus, it's a tool that I really do recommend. Ours blows all the others straight out the water because it's just so versatile. Oops, I left those behind. Never mind. Right, I'm not doing all the colouring, as I say. I'm going to give you a quick overview of how I do it because I am not a good colourer at all. So first of all, I wonder if I can just stick to this one. I think this has probably got everything on it that I want. So first of all, the Hedgehog. For that, whoops, I use light and dark crumb cake and light soft suede. So what I do with him, I go round all this edging. Obviously there's no definite edging because it's like his spikes, so you can't really do this bit wrong. I try and do his ears in a lighter colour so that they're quite visible. And I don't mind going over the edge a bit here because I'm going to bring in some crumb cake. I like to try and give him a bit of a lighter chest or breast, whatever you call it on a hedgehog. Okay, and once I've done that, I just colour in the same direction that the spikes are going. If I finish up with paint marks, like where you can see which direction I'm going, that's okay, because that just gives it extra dimension. Okay, so there's that one. And then I take the dark crumb cake and I will do his ears, and then I will do a line against the soft suede. Now sometimes I go right up to the face, sometimes I don't. This time I am. There we go. And then for my light crumb, oops, not that end, light crumb cake, just going to colour over that. Right, now I'm going to go over the dark crumb cake here and then onto my light. I'm just going to give that a little bit while I go over here. Why do I do this? I just feel that it gives the soft suede a bit of a, it tones it more into a crumb cake soft suede, if you like. And then I go back over this. I'll try and do the light and dark areas. Then leave that to blend in. Okay, so you'll see that he's got tones, if you like, on there. The what did I use? I think you light. Both of those are light. Oh, that's right, dark petal pink. This is for the butterfly. So I did the plain part of his wings. And then I did the body in light crumb cake. And then I went to the light Calypso Coral, and then I did the stripy bit on his wings. I think that one's the one that's got to go out because I've worn the brush out on that one. This is much better. Okay, so first of all I do the stripy bits. And then I go back and I try and draw a line using the Calypso Coral over the plain bit of the petal pink. Then I can tone those two bits in. Petal pink. One of the things I did on one of those others, that one there, the colour was too much alike, so I used my colour lifter and I just dabbed it so it moved a bit of colour around, and it just gives it some like a light pattern on there. So you can always do that. Okay, so that's that one done. Now with this, what I did was light crumb cake, and I did the base down here. Then I used Calypso Coral. I used the dark Calypso Coral, and I coloured all the top, leaving the circles. How many of you others hold your breath when you're painting? By the way, on the 2nd and 3rd of July, I shall be at the artisan market in the St Nicholas shopping centre in Sutton in Surrey. If anybody wants to pop along and say hello. It's open from 11 till 4 on Saturday and on Sunday. It's the first one that I'm doing. It's a new event. They're moving it down to the 2nd floor. It was on the 3rd, and apparently because it's new they are still working exactly where the best position and everything is. Right, on this bit underneath here I'm doing dark crumb cake. Hubby and I actually went there, the one which was after the weekend after the Jubilee weekend, and very impressed with the other artisans we saw, so we decided we'd give it a go. Now I've got light crumb cake here, and I'm just going over these spots. I just want to tone it down a bit. Oh, I lost a bit there. That's okay. Now with my flowers, I did the leaves with light. I'm not going to do all of these because it would take too long. I used Old Olive for the leaves. Obviously I will be using this for the card where I've made all the bits for. The flowers, did I do, I think I used light Calypso Coral, didn't I? Let's have a look. Yes. I did the buds as well in light Calypso Coral. That's a bud there. You might want to do them green. They could still be covered with, I think it's calyx, isn't it? The things that cover buds. Right, and then for the centre of my flowers I use Dark Daffodil Delight. And then for my grass, I use the grass stamp, which I've kept up here, and Old Olive ink. And I just stamp along like that, and then I go back and do a second lot, because I feel that just one layer isn't really quite thick enough. You may disagree with me and prefer just the one stamp. There we go. And then where it's got the black stamp on it, I just go straight over that. You may not like that idea. Now, one of these I showed you, it's got a pencil mark there and I left a gap. The reason I did that was on this card, when that's closed, you can actually see a little bit through there. Now, if that drives you crazy, just mark on this sheet halfway, just mark it halfway, and then just don't do the grass over that bit. oh, here we go, like this one. Okay, so obviously this is one I'm going to be using on our card, so you'll be able to see what happens, and I'll always be able to go back and do some more grass on it. Okay, so that's how I do all of my stamping. Obviously I've got quite a bit there to keep me amused later on. So now we're going to put our card together. Okay, I've already put my layers on, like this. I've already put these layers on. So this is all for my card. This is what I'm going to be doing with you though. So let me take this. So first of all, this is going to go inside my card like this. Again, if you wanted to do clouds or anything, I think it would probably look very nice. Oh, that's what I should be using. I also thought about some kind of a belly band. Oh, come on, don't you do this to me. Silly so-and-so. Try using the right end. Here it is. There we go. Oh, that's it. Let's close that down. Right, now let's go. Just position that in the centre. And if I close that, you see, I've got a gap there, but you can't see any grass through it. Now, is that going to bother me or not? I don't know. I'll wait until my card is finished. Right, now, let's do this closed, otherwise I'll do it upside down or something. Where's the one that's got the snail on it? This one. I did make one of these as my, when I was practicing, the first one I did to find out whether my double idea would work, I actually used cardstock, and I felt that it was a bit too thick for this card. So as you can see, I've made all of mine using basic white as my base, card base. When I'm putting this on, I try and make sure that the Calypso Coral line lines up with that one. Again, it's one of those little things that not terribly important. Even I don't feel bothered about it, and I tend to be a bit OCD. There we go. Sounds like something's sticking. Or maybe something leaked on the inside. There we go, so that's the front of the card. Let's see if we can... Oh yes, there's something sticking here. I'll worry about that after I've done the video. Right, so that's front, that's all that done. Now we need these bits. Now you do need to be careful if, like me, you're using a directional pattern. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces. Did I tell you the measurements of these? I don't think I did I? You need 2 squares at 2.5 inches squared, and that's that. I'm not doing layers on this one, by the way. Not a middle layer, anyway. And then I've got 2 pieces at 5.25 inches by 2.5, and that's with these up that direction as well. And then one that should be 5.25 by 2.5. I've got it this way. Okay, that one is longer than 5.25. Those 2 need to be cut. So let's do these ones first. What I'm hoping to do is, with the pieces that I've actually measured, I'm hoping to cut them where they need to be cut, and then once both bits, like those 2 bits, once they're the right size, I'm hoping that I can just put the 2 together and be able to give a measurement and say just cut from here to here. I'm hoping. Otherwise you're going to have to do it exactly the same as I am, which is measuring it as you go. I keep seeing marks that look like pencil marks. I can't imagine why. Right, now I'm going to take one of the upright pieces. One. Okay. So now if I didn't have to do that, this would be the right size. Okay. So what I'm going to do, that is positioned beautifully, and with my pencil, it seems to, no, it hasn't escaped, it's here. I am going to put a pencil mark there and there. That is about 1/8 of an inch. Let's get this. So I'm going to pop this in here, and I am going to cut from that pencil mark, can you see, yes, down to that pencil mark. In fact, it's not going to be quite as straightforward as I thought, is it? Oops, I saw movement there. And now that piece will go in there. But that piece won't go in because I've got a straight piece, straight cut there. So what I need to do is do exactly the same as I did before. Make sure this is lined up exactly where I want it to go, and then I'm going to do a pencil line just below where that score line is there, and again just below there. Okay, so I think this is going to be the best I can give you as far as measurements. Well, that went wonky. That doesn't look as if that will work. Let me have a look. Yes, I've got to come down, haven't I? Not sure how I managed that. I knew that was wrong because that end is a lot slimmer than that end, and that should not have happened. So I'm going to try there. So now I've got to do it from the start there, down to that pencil mark. I'm going to do it from the bottom upwards. So I've got my pencil mark there in my groove, and I've got that point just about where the blade will avoid it. Okay, so you can see that you can see more of the brown along this side. It gets narrower as it gets down. Oops, it's gone inside there, that's clever. Well, that could have done it. Let's see. Can't even pick it up. That's better. In an ideal world, what would happen is, I think, one cut should just be enough. I don't see why you have to. Maybe if I did it from the bottom first. Let's try that. I'll do it on that one first. So, remove these pencil marks. You're going into a point there, so I recommend you try and get your glue as close into that point as possible. And then this one. If I do work out actual measurements, what I'll do is I will come back onto the video and make a comment, but I will pin it so it will always be the first comment. Okay, so if you want to check up whether I've actually succeeded doing it or not, that's where you can have a look. Just trying to get that so it's a straight line down there. Okay, so there's that one. So now this one, as I say, I'm going to try it the other side first. Let's try and do this one first. Okay, so I'm lining this up where I think it should go. No, it won't, will it? Okay, so I'm coming down here. Oh, it might do. So I've got a gap between there and there, which is like the gaps all the way around. That's where I'm deciding to put my pencil mark. Okay, so hopefully that gap is the same all the way up, which we are about to find out. Pencil mark is where? There, down to there. Am I in shot? Yep, okay. So there's that one. Now this might be interesting. That will be there. Now I wonder if I just cut off the top bit there, whether that would work. I think so. Okay, so what did we cut up there? This may be the answer. That was 5 1/8. Five and 1/8 on one side. Ooh. That's 2 and 8, 9, 10, 11 sixteenths. Or could you say that's? No, we say 2 and 5/8. I think difference in a 16th really isn't going to make too much difference. Now with this, you see there's a straight edge there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slice off here so that I take off that straight edge. Okay, so once you've got this one, you finish up with a piece that is also 2 and 5/8. Okay, 2 and 5/8. And then that little bit there, is it actually an 1/8? Yeah, you've got 1/8, so slice off an 1/8 from the top. Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it, if that is all it's going to take. So I'm putting the bottom of that straight bit in the cutting track. Oh, quite excited about this. I'm sure there has to be an easy way to do these. Now we've got to try and work that one. Again, you've got some points here, so try and get your Tombow to go right in the corner there. I think I could have cut off a bit more, couldn't I? So my instruction to you, in fact, no, I know I brought it out with me in case this happened. To the rescue, I have a bag of waxed paper, and when I want to cut something like this, I put this on top. If I get that right in the middle. Okay, so I cut off an 1/8 from the top there. I am going to now cut off another 1/8. So I may change that instruction to cut off 1/4. Let's see how this goes. I've got quite a lot of Tombow there that's exposed, but I'll come back later and dry that. Okay. Take that pencil mark. Whoops. In fact, I'm glad that I've got one more card to do because I can actually play with this, the measurements again. Okay, because that's a bit wider there, isn't it? But you get the idea of how to be doing this. So what I'm going to do in this one is put that on top first. I'm going to draw a line there, there, there. Okay, so all I'm doing is drawing lines about 1/8 of an inch in. In fact, I'm going to do these one at a time. I don't want to finish up with a bit where I've got a, don't have a sharp point, I've just got a square point, if you know what I mean. And then once you've done that, take one from the other end. That's it. It's that way, that way. Now what I did to make sure I've got the right triangle is that is the way it's going that side, so the other one has got to be the opposite of it, and that's how I've drawn it. Okay. And that's that one. And now I'm going to draw off where I did that one. Okay, so they were the pencil marks for my second line before I decided that I wasn't going to do it quite like that, but I need this to be a point up here. No, it's because I'm not holding it straight. That's not lining up with those either. That's better, so that should be right. Let's hope this is right. Not quite right on that one, but it is so close I'm not going to worry about that. We don't need that one. We do need that. I really don't think anybody else is going to notice that. Okay, so it is a bit of a hit and miss thing, but I think it's worth the effort of putting it there. The other alternative you could do, if you don't want to go to this sort of trouble, is stamp your cardstock first. Make your own, like, designer series paper. That's this sheet here, the whole lot. Just stamp a design on it, so that once you put all your bits on, that's still got that pattern all around it. Okay, that's the easy option. Which I think is quite an amazing idea, actually. Well, I hope I get that bit of paper up the right way, did I? Yes, I did. Suddenly thought that maybe I'd done that upside down. I hope not, because I'm just about out of this paper, I think. I have to say I've been pleased with this design. Blot that a bit. But I'm going to blot all of that. There we go. And the last one. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Sorry that this bit is a bit hit and miss. As I say, I will try and work out proper instructions, and I'll put it as a pinned comment. If anybody else is able to work out a method of making this correct each time, I'd appreciate it. Give my poor brain a rest. So there we go, that's today's card. Let's get rid of that sheet. This is a bit stiff to start off with, but it does become easier giving it a bit of time. Okay, there's another pencil mark there. That's where I marked halfway along this sheet. Okay, so many thanks for joining me today. I hope you like this, and I hope you give it a try. This is the one that Fiona did, and obviously to make this one you follow my instructions. You just don't have that extra 2 3/4 inches on the side there. I will work out what the metric measurements are, and all the measurements will be in the box below. I will also list out all the products that I've used for this card. and provide a link for my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you do shop with me, first of all, thank you very much. This is assuming you don't already have a Stampin' Up demonstrator that you work with. But please remember to use my June HOSTESS code, so when I send you my happy mail at the beginning of July, I can include some free product with it for you. Don't forget, 1st of July also sees the start of the new mini catalogue, together with Celebration, which is where you can choose a gift for every £45 or €60 of your order, and level 1, level 2 gifts. So some are order £45, others are orders of £90 or more. If you're my customer, I've already sent out the catalogues. Hopefully they're dropping through your letterboxes today, or at least yesterday by the time you watch this. If you've enjoyed my video and like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the button at the bottom there and then clicking on the bell to get notified. I look forward to seeing you next time. In the meantime, please take care, stay safe, and happy crafting. Cheerio!